I'd like to talk now about your theory of health and how real healing and true health is accomplished. You've worked with perhaps thousands of people in the area of healing, and many people are suffering today from so-called incurable diseases like cancer, AIDS, and all kinds of other things that are more common. And have you had any success in dealing with these diseases, and in your opinion, what's at the cause?
Well, I have a different look at sickness than most healers and most people. I look at sickness as one of those things that we do to ourselves to understand ourselves. Now, a lot of people don't see it that way. A lot of people, like, let's take the metaphysicians. As soon as something goes wrong in your body, the first thing they'll say is, what did I do wrong? Thinking that sickness apparently is a negative reality. We live in a world where all of the religions, based on what God has told us, we live in a perfect world. The only thing that makes it unperfect is our judgments that things are right or wrong, good or bad. So I stuck with the divine point of view, that everything is perfect, and that everything basically is a learning experience for us that we can learn from and understand. I've worked on thousands of people, and the universe has performed thousands of miracles. It's very impressive what God can do. As a healer, I don't take any credit. I think as a healer, the job that I do is I witness the manifestation of God on the physical plane, and this is what we call a miracle. We're wanting God to be more present in our everyday life, but if we're choosing not to witness that reality, then how are we going to bring it in? So when I heal, I share the spotlight, obviously, with God, and God does the healing. Yeah, it looks like I know what I'm doing in hand movement. You just get used to God's style. You get used to God's technique, and then you know what you're doing. What really creates diseases? There's a disease out there, one of them that I've worked with, and it's like environmentally ill people. These are individuals who, boy, they can eat like maybe 3 or 4 foods on the planet. On the 15 or 20 that I worked on, I was amazed to find out the disease is harmful, but not enough to kill you. And that was an interesting clue. I also noticed that everybody that had it had a minimum of a bachelor's degree on up. And I thought that was interesting, that somebody would take a disease that could almost kill them, but not quite. See, the reason that it couldn't quite kill them is because they already had an education. And with that education, they didn't want to like hurt themselves too much, but they did want perhaps some sympathy or whatever it is that goes on. We create diseases to learn from them. Some of them kill us. I'm one of those individuals that doesn't believe you have to die if you don't want to, and have found enough proof in ancient documents and things of that nature that state that if you don't truly wish to die, you don't really have to, and that there are techniques of avoiding that particular reality. In learning about diseases, inside of our head, because the general consciousness of the planet has this good-bad approach on the old heaven and hell theory, and because a lot of people say heaven and hell is right here on this planet, we keep score in our head. And if we think we're out of balance and we might have hurt other people or hurt things, now you're not doing this consciously, you're doing this subconsciously. We keep score, and if we've hurt too many persons, places, or things, we throw a repercussion on ourselves. And we use it as a learning experience so that we can grow from the reality and end up not performing the same hurting things that happened in the past. And so we actually make ourselves sick to keep balance in the universe. Because I don't believe in the heaven and hell theory. I've seen too much other dimensional movements. I've seen what happens when you die. You don't die, you transcend to another reality. It's just that simple. We're already told that the soul is eternal, so where do we come up with this death aspect? Sure, this unit ceases to exist, but the consciousness and everything else that you're trying to learn with doesn't. And so we're educating that consciousness that doesn't. And we're trying to get a handle on everything. It doesn't take us long to figure out things, especially like whatever you put out is what you get back. Dump on somebody, and eventually somebody's going to dump on you. And so that's what we keep here in the subconscious. If we hurt too many persons, places, or things, then we hurt ourselves not as a punishment, but to understand the balance that exists. And because God gives you whatever you ask for, obviously God gives you the disease. Now, this is not a punishment like everybody else thinks. Well, I'm sick, this is a punishment for doing something wrong. No, it ain't. If you thought it was wrong, that's why you're punishing yourself. God doesn't get up in the morning, has a bad day, and goes, all right, let's just stick it to these people. It's not what God does. It's not like its style at all. So, and I call it because it's neither male nor female nor a thing. It doesn't have shape. It doesn't have form. It's an essence. Occasionally I call it he because of my Roman Catholic upbringing, repetition, repetition, repetition. But it's a non-sex attribute, so I just want to throw that in there.